kind of outfit that I needed to. I was just like itching to play and itching to improvise. And
Who were those early members?
Quentin Musgrove was the bass player originally, and then Justin Hills was also in the project, and he played drums. And
There was a drummer before Andy.
Yep, Justin Hills.
Okay.
And he's still around Seattle playing music, and yeah, it just with the idea of it, you have everybody has different ideas when they bring things to the table, and some things work, some things don't. And that's life in kind of a nutshell. So you have to let things. You have to let people ride into the sunset, and you got to let other things breathe itself into existence.
Amen.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
I mean, AfroCop as it is right now even also has a lot of guests. You guys play with Bill Horst a lot, and have other people sit in. It is, by the nature of it being improvised, it is so adaptable to that, which is beautiful. Really suits you.
I want to keep it like that.
The cop.
Yeah, we're rarely. It's really hard to keep a band going for a long time. I feel like in any setting, and but this is one approach to keep it at least community based, and everybody speaking to each other rather than people fighting over what they want to play.
What do you think? What do you think people see in AfroCop? Because for the longest time, I think I fought the idea because I was so used to structured form-based music and seeing a lot of people play within very specific contexts and skill sets.
Even improvised music.
Yeah, even improvised music.
Yeah, because that has like a pretty straight format if you look at the jazz idea of it.
Heads and solo sections. Yeah.
And sometimes it's just, going into ideas and seeing where it's going to take you to the next. But as far as that's concerned, I think that the whole idea of it was basically everybody brings their idea. You don't go home and practice a bunch of chops and then just, I like that chop that I was playing at home, so I'm just going to play it, here. You pick what fits to what's happening, and by working together with each other and communicating. And I wanted to be on a higher level of communication rather than just, let's just do this. And, maybe that's the next consciousness level of improvised music. But, it just began as an idea of, hey, everybody has their turn to speak, and, and we speak together. And, if it's a fluid motion, if we have similar ideas of where we want to take it, then we're gonna get along, and we're gonna make interesting music, even if it's weird to some people. And some people don't get it. That's fine. Other people get it.
I mean, I think people more and more are getting it, and that's really refreshing and exciting.
That is really exciting. Cool. It is refreshing.
Chasing them till the end. With my man by my side and my friend in my ride, here we go again. I'm always chasing rainbows, chasing them till the end. And you know that ain't much love if you're looking for the top. Hands up, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, let's give it one more shot. And you know that ain't much luck if you're looking for
guys met in college makes me realize I don't know that much about your backgrounds. I would love to know some more if whoever wants to go, maybe tell us about.
Are you guys watching? Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Well, I noticed Katrina because she's a good singer. I don't know if Katrina noticed me because I was a freshman drummer.
He was quiet.
I was a quiet drummer. Didn't really branch out till like later.
Drummer.
Quiet drummer.
Yeah. Well, everyone in the jazz school is like, shh. Like quieter on your bass drum. Like, dang, that's like really quiet. And so I was like more timid when I first started because it was so lower in volume, like dynamically, that I was required to play. Anyway, I was a quiet drummer. Yes. Katrina was really good at singing. That's how I noticed her. And then we didn't really connect at all, really.
No,
I
I think
recognized her.
I think we had like a 6-month overlap.
Yeah. So it wasn't really much of a backstory in that regard. So that's kind of easy.
Yeah. So we didn't like really hang out, but then years later, I come to Jazz Underground rehearsal, which is this 20-piece big band, and I see that he's drumming, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Just
But
like that.
and does you going to Cornish, does that mean that you grew up in this area?
No, I grew up in Anacortes in Hawaii.
Anacortes and Hawaii.
Yeah, so like back and forth, and I was born in Hawaii, and then I moved to Anacortes.
Military-based family
Kinda,
situation?
more like a divorced family.
Yes, I know about those. Okay. And did you start playing music as a child?
Yeah, 7th grade. That's when I started.
On the drums?
Yeah, because you could I guess hit a drum for a class, which is I thought cool.
Like joining bands.
Yeah,
Is when you started.
as a class
Cool.
you could do that, and I thought that was a pretty cool class.
I thought so too. I still do, actually.
Yeah, still pretty cool.
And Katrina, you're also from this area, right?
Yes. Been in different places. I mean, born in North Seattle, lived in Colorado for a bit, lived in San Diego. My dad worked for Boeing, so, and then just been here.
Are you also Washingtonian?
Yeah, I was born in Bellingham, and then I moved to Seattle in '98, and yeah, I've been here since. That was about, I think I was 21-ish, 22. 98, I would have been 23. Yeah, it was fun.
And what's your musical background like?
I took some piano lessons when I was 6, and I played in the school band from 6th grade to 10th grade, and I played in their jazz band or something like that, and the marching band, and the regular
National marching band.
yeah, right. And then my first songbook was like the Soundgarden book that had was it Bad Motorfinger, that has like Mystified and Jesus Christ Pose. Is that Bad Motorfinger? And it has Rusty Cage. So anyway, I bought that book and a guitar, a Squire, and a little fucking amp, little thing, for like the price of a tenner.
Don't wait for your day. Hesitate, no, and it will fade away.
Hello! What's up, streamers? No, I had this on for safety, but I guess we are at least 10 feet apart, and you at home, of course, are much farther away on the internet, but thanks to live streaming and Astral Media Lab, we are able to come directly to you tonight. Hello, my name is John. I VJ as Blazing Space, and I'm going to be taking you through tonight's journey. This is transmission number 3 of the Astral Media The Lab podcast. It's an audio-visual podcast where we take a deep dive into a sonic traveler that we're in love with. We also often share exclusive live performance of theirs from our archives. And tonight, we are going to be diving into Planet Booty, who, I gotta say, honestly, rocked my world when I was first listening to them and putting this episode together. It was almost too much positive sexual energy for me, especially going through this pandemic. I almost didn't know how to meet the music, and once I was sort of exposed myself, listened to it for a few hours, I was like, yeah, let's dance in our bedrooms, let's get naked, let's stay sensual. And it was such an important reminder to continue to embrace the full reality of my human self, which also is sexual. And I love that about Planet Booty. So we're going to dive deep into Planet Booty tonight. Carlos Tullos is going to be the interviewer. Carlos, one of the founders of Astral Media Lab, along with his wife Allison Tullos. So I want to give a beautiful shout out to them and say I love you both. I know they're back in Chicago right now. And I also want to say a special shout out to Mark Tullos and Kirsten Coleman, who started Coffee Talk, Coffee Cup Productions outside of Chicago. Check out Coffee Talk. There's an amazing archive of interviews and live performances that Mark and Kirsten did. Tragically, Mark passed away last year, and everything that we do here at Astral Media Lab and everything I do at Blazing Space is in dedication to Mark Tullos. He believed in us, he inspired us, and in many ways what we do here at Astral Media Lab is following in Coffee Talk's footsteps, and I want to acknowledge that, and I want to say I love you and thank you right here. Also, before we even get to this amazing interview Carlos did with Rob Gwynn of Planet Booty, we gotta talk about Pam Zamora, this amazing non-binary artist from Bogota, Colombia, who's going to be performing tonight live from the lab. Cheers. And that's what we call a continuity error. Live streaming is a really complicated business. Let me tell you, something always goes wrong. Something always needs to be switched up. So thank you for bearing with me through that continuity error. I did want to say, before we get into any of this amazing Planet Booty magic and this really cool interview with Rob Gwynn that Carlos did, we need to talk about Pam Zamora, who's performing live tonight from the lab. Everyone's masked, staying safe, super excited to bring that to you tonight. Pam Zamora is from Bogota, Colombia. They make this really interesting music with guitars and loop pedals and keyboards and vocals as well. I love the way that they can kind of take just a phrase or a word and turn it into an entire idea in a song. Yeah, their music is just so expansive and interesting, and I cannot wait to present it to you tonight. Of course, I'm going to be laying down a little bit of visuals, so I'm going to need to hop out of this hot tub and dry my hands off and get ready to work this electrical equipment. But I just wanted to come and, as my friend Andy Sells from AfroCop and Select Level and FCS North and so many other projects has encouraged me to do an intro to every single one of our streams from the hot tub. And it's not always easy to do that. I don't always want to get in front of the camera. But I love you, and I do really appreciate you watching, and I think it's important. And I I'm totally fine coming on camera just so that I can directly tell you thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for experiencing this with us. Couldn't exist without you. If you're loving it, share the stream. Especially if you're having a good time, please tip the artists. There's going to be tip links on the screen during Pam's performance, and I encourage everyone to tip Pam Zamora, as the set's going to be really special. And yeah, let's sit back and enjoy this beautiful evening. Pam's going to trip us out, and then Planet Booty's going to have us dancing in our bedroom. And I couldn't be happier that you joined us. From me, Blaze in Space, National Media Lab. Spread the word, attack with love. We love you. Cheers. Enjoy the stream.
Fucking Which point of view is superior to which point of view? Are you gonna ask some guru? Are you gonna say that that's the absolute point of view? It feels sort of dirty. It feels sort of dirty. You're not really hearing the other side. You're not really considering the other point of view. But you keep on swimming. You keep on pushing. You don't want to swim in a sea of uncertainty. You don't want to swim in a sea of uncertainty. You don't want to swim in a sea of uncertainty. You need to awaken in those moments. Doing it, but not knowing how you do it. And that's reality. 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 That's reality. And that's reality. That's reality. That's reality. That's reality. And 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 that's reality. That's reality. threatened, you get scared. You wanna let go of your beliefs. Of course, when you're threatened, you get scared, and when you get scared, you get defensive, and then by that point, shoot, that's completely falling out the window. You need to awaken in those moments. You need to develop that feeling ability. Okay.
That song is a song about being close-minded. Get it might get people's skin because it's hard to understand that we are close-minded, you know. I'm gonna switch it up a bit. I'm gonna do a mellower song, but still a little weird, and it's in Spanish. It's a song that I'm gonna release soon. Um, yeah, it's about dreaming. It's called Sueño, and yeah. Hope you like it. Sueño Let's keep on dreaming.
This is the last song.
And I'm gonna use this mic for this one. So yeah, this song I got it from a movie I love. It's a movie called A Waking Life, and I got it from the dialogue, and I just love everything the movie has to say about everything. It's just my favorite movie ever. Yeah, I hope you like it. This is on my EP, by the way.
Pick another number. Pick another number. Pick another number. Dream is. Dream is. Dream is destiny. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. To keep things in the same key. The truth is just the opposite. The truth, the truth, the truth, the truth, the truth is just the opposite. Your life is yours to create. Your life is yours to create. A new human with a new individuality, with a new consciousness. No doubts of morality or war. This will be evolution, not de-evolution. An individual, not restricted by time and space, by time and space, by time and space. By time and space. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. We go through life just bouncing on each other, and autopilot. Go, walk, go, drive, go, stop. Everything basically for survival. Everything basically for survival. I don't want a straw. Credit or debit. I don't want a straw. I want a human moment. I want you to see me. I don't want to be an ant, you know? So-called lucid dream, where you're consciously aware that you're dreaming. It's tremendous possibilities. The worst mistake you can make is to say that you're alive when you're actually asleep in life's waiting room. Feels like we're just awake looking through our dreams. Feels like we're just awake looking through our dreams.
Okay, hold up. We'll do one more, but you're gonna promise you're gonna go as hard as you fucking can.
Oh, it might be where you come from. If where you come from casts a bright light on your news trucks that you made up. Oh, it might just wear you down if your love rubs up on the piss-ups and the give-ups. Always mix up with the good ones. Wild green lawns, rich sticks in Green Bay. Real hot clouds from a sweaty hazy summer.
Check it out. See, I got a little proposition for you, baby. From me to you. I got a little proposition for you, baby. From me to you. Call you work, cause you staying at home. Take it off, take it off. We gonna get it on. So let me see what them curves about. Baby, open up them curtains, cause we gonna air it out. Cause I want it all day. That's just how I need it. Yes, you're looking tasty. Come on, let me eat it. Really what I have to say. I never wanna let you go. I really wanna cut the chase. Yeah, what you need to know is I want to get naked with you all day. I want to get naked with you all day. All day. All day. All day. All day. All day. All day.
Jump in the air, y'all.
When I get up in the morning, you better be naked.
Yeah, get up, get up, get up, get up.
When I meet in my weekends, you better be naked.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
When my friends are chilling, you better be naked. You don't wanna fake it. Come on, let's get naked. Just want to get naked.
Hold up.
I wanna know your private places on a first name basis.
Oh my God, oh my goodness, that sounds nice though.
I wanna know your private places on a first name basis.
Sometimes I call him Gerald.
Legs up, pocket wet, beat it up, beat red, but keep that shit romantic like candles and feed you chocolate. Clothes, don't need them, take them off. Let's have a conversation, a pillow talk. We can do it in the shower for an hour with the lights up. You can turn cover, don't wrinkle, all natural. Imperfection make your body spectacular. Let it jump in my bed, we should take a pic. Put it on the internet and check how many likes you get. Nothing wrong with being naked. Pants so tight, I can see you suffocating. So let it drop to the ground. Put your legs up, I'm going down.
Going down?
I'm going down.
Going down?
I'm going down.
I want to get naked with you all day. I want to get naked with you all day. All day I dream about.
Chillin', you better be naked. You don't wanna fake it. Come on, let's get naked. Just want to get naked. Naked, naked, naked. I
want to get naked with you all day. I want to get naked with you all day. All day I dream about. All day I dream about.
With you all day.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm Rob Gwynn in Alameda, California.
So we should probably start with the obvious, which is the unprecedented situation going on in the world. And how are you faring throughout?
The thing that immediately springs to mind is I've had a chance to work on stuff around the house, especially in the alleyway next to the house. When it gets windy, the trees do this like scrapey tap tap thing on the roof or on the windows, and it's sort of like driven me crazy for a long time. So I finally got to get out there with the ladder and everything, and the pruners or whatever, just go nuts with it. Stuff like that I would never do if I just didn't have tons of time on my hands.
Right.
And then working, like I just started saying yes to stuff, like weird jobs and stuff, like software stuff. I'm learning a lot of new things. Helping a friend of mine is a really amazing balloon artist, and she decided she wants to start making some instructional videos of these gigantic sculptures that she makes.
Oh, so these aren't like birthday party.
No, not little clown birthdays. She makes like giant like bears and dragons and unicorns and like
wow,
crazy like large scale party stuff that costs like multi-$1,000. It's so
wow,
weird.
really?
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
That's cool.
And it takes her like hours to do these builds. So I've been like helping her with that kind of the videography on that and the editing,
wow,
which has been interesting because I've done a lot of music videos, of course, but which is a whole different like micro scale of quick edits and little things like long things. I have this new like wonder and appreciation for like how the heck do people make like actual movies and like anything longer than 10 minutes. It's just
right.
What?
Yeah.
It's so much time and footage and space. And
Hey, I'm done with people today. Yeah, yeah. I'm ready for some screen time, some TV and ice cream time. Thank God it's only me time. But when the music fills me up and I can't seem to get enough, I've gotta dance, 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 dance. And when that melody hits my ears, oh well, it takes away my fears. I've gotta dance, 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 dance.
From the outside, it would seem like maybe there's like camp, or maybe if you just saw the name or someone tried to explain it to you.
Exactly.
It's sort of like, yeah, I don't know if I would get into that, or maybe you would, but when you actually, over time, like something sort of, it started to become like a revival kind of an experience, like an old school revival where like the combination of the like sexualized music that's so over the top, like sort of breaks off your inhibition, and then the good message comes in underneath that, and you're like, whoa, all of a sudden I'm feeling free. I didn't realize I was so
right
hung up before, you know.
Right, exactly. Well, and that's been the big thing for us is it's been a big challenge for us quite consciously that of just starting with the name, you know. It's really it's hard to tell your friend that I saw a band called Planet Booty and they're actually pretty good. You should check them out, because they're just like, what is wrong with you? They can't possibly be good. It just seems so outlandish and so gimmicky. It's got to be bad. And it's one of those things where you got to get people in the room, and then there's this sort of light turns on. They're like, oh my God, which is just, yeah, it's the charismatic power of Dylan. I mean, you got to have, I like to think the music is good, but you know, you got to have the music that sort of delivers the punch, while Dylan sort of delivering the other punch to the heart, if you will, right. Just sort of hitting you on all levels like that. But when you see just one little piece of it, it's just so easy. It's very easy to dismiss. And I know, because I do it myself all the time. Just like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this?
Yes.
But then, I mean, that's kind of the point of it too. One story that I don't tell a whole lot, but is actually a great, to me, is one of the great moments, and has clarified my thought. I was just talking to my uncle about it, who passed away a couple of years ago. Well, my uncle's this old codger, you know, just like raging, you know, drunk sailor, just kind of like crusty old barnacle kind of guy. And he thought it was amusing that, you know, I played music. So, oh yeah, rock and roll, you know. He bought me my first like Yamaha electric guitar when I was like 12 or whatever. He was like, yeah, go play some rock and roll. And he worked in like elevator construction in the 80s with like, and he's like, oh yeah, my buddy like Phil or whatever, he has like long hair and he plays in a metal band. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I guess. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then as I'm trying to like explain like, yeah, he's like, what are you up to now? I'm like, yeah, Planet Bodhi. He's like, Planet Bodhi? But I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of sort of explaining like, it's just like, it's so crazy that like, like you have to like, either you get it or you don't. And like some people are turned off, if you're too cool about it, to be turned off by it. But, it's sort of funny, but we're serious about it. And he was like, I get it. It means fucking get over yourself.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Like, holy shit. Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what it means.
Like, oh yeah, he's doing that thing where it's like, get over yourself. And like, it feels so good to do that,
I don't feel like going out tonight, but that day gon' stop me from dancing. And when that melody hits me so right, I can't help myself, I'm just dancing. I'm just dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom. I keep on dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom.
I like to party, and I like to go out, and I love to tear the dance floor up with my friends. Oh, but that's not the night, no. Tonight I'm flying solo, and the party's already started right next to my bed. So I'm gonna turn my music louder to know what the people saying. I don't care if someone hears me, I'm too busy elevating. You can miss me with that crowd. I'm at home here shining. Come on, dance, 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 dance.
I don't feel like going out tonight, but that day gon' stop me from dancing. And when that melody hits me so right, I can't help myself, I'm just dancing. I'm just dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom. I keep on dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom, dancing in my bedroom.
If it's okay, I wanted to kind of go chronologically.
Yeah.
You're from Connecticut, but I guess we met because we have friends. I'm from Chicago, or outside of Chicago, and you went to school outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
You went to Northwestern?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you study there?
I studied, it was a department called Performance Studies, which was in the School of Speech.
Okay.
Which is, it's kind of like a communications degree, except there is actually a communications school, which is a whole different thing. It was like sort of adjacent to theater. So I was a big theater kid in high school. We had a wild theater program in my high school, which is a whole other story. And so I went to college being like, theater, I'm gonna do theater. And I got there and it was this like whole other level of like people like being dramatic in all senses of the term and like being super serious about their careers and everything. And it was this like theater factory where you go to be a professional. And I was just like, yeah, that ain't it. Like I just realized quickly that wasn't. And so a buddy of mine like steered me into this other department called Performance Studies, which is kind of like talking about theater. And it's like adapting fiction for theater and the performance of political life. And it's more of like an academic thing. But also Northwestern's a good school is that it's a wide school, and like the way they set up the credits and stuff, like you're encouraged to take a lot of stuff. So it was just kind of like you could just take all kinds of stuff. And then meanwhile, playing music in bands and stuff.
A vision about where that was all going to take you at the time?
No.
Okay.
I was operating under the model of that I guess I inherited from my dad. It was like, just get a degree so you can say you have a degree. So it's just like, take as many classes and whatever interesting stuff I could take to get the degree. But other than that, I was just focused on playing music.
So how did that begin, the original Planet Booty?
Well, I mean, obviously it started with Dylan and Nate, the brothers.
Had they always wanted to do something together? or had they been in bands before together?
I mean, they hadn't been in like a band before. Dylan's several years younger. So at the time that Nate and I were doing Cooking and Home, and Dylan was still, at like high school and college, coming up back in Indiana. And so then he moved out here, and he was just sort of this fireball of energy. There's 4 brothers and a sister in that family, and they're all very sort of creative and bizarre in their own ways. And so it was kind of like, all right, here's the 4th brother. What has he got? And he was just like, and he's the youngest brother. And so he's just a fireball of energy, just stirring things up. And so it was I think it was to Nate, it was, let's get this guy on a record, Nate had his little recording studio going on there, and our bands were happening. So it was like, let's make a record. Come on. And Dylan had all these ideas, and Dylan was super into, obviously he has a much more polished version of the story than I do, but
yeah,
he had this great deep love for like 90s booty music in Chicago, and like coming out of Miami and Atlanta or whatever. And so he just kept saying, I want to make some booty music. Come on, Nate, let's make some booty music. And so they would I think it started with that, just trying to make like big bass booty beats or whatever. And then it's sort of, you do that for a while, and it's natural. Let's make an album. Yeah, it's a song. We're making an album. And the album's going to be called Planet Booty. And it was really just like a project,
And was Planet Booty conceptualized by Dylan at the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. And did he ever articulate the concept to you back then?
Back then, no, not really.
Okay.
We just kind of, to me, I just kind of took it at face value. Like, of course they're making a record called Planet Booty. Why not? I don't know. And just the two of that, the first record, Planet Booty, it's actually, technically, it's all self-produced or whatever, but technically they were calling themselves Gurmart because they were Gurmics.
Right.
Gurmart, and their brother Ryan is a very talented artist, so he was kind of like involved in that way a little bit.
Right.
And so it was just sort of the way that was conceptualized at the time. Dylan was all like, booty, Planet Booty, just as an idea. But then as far as a product, it was really more just like, well, here's one Gurmart production. It's this album called Planet Booty.
Right.
And then, well, what to do after that? Of course, then they thought it'd be fun to perform this music live. So Nate calls up his old buddies like me, Josh, Dylan recruited Josh. They were working together, and he just liked them. Oh. He sang well and stuff. Okay. They would sing karaoke. They worked at this cafe in San Francisco that was sort of like, it was one of these kind of like legendary work spots for like, it took me a while. It was years into the band before I realized like most of our early fan base like came from this cafe in some sort of another. Mm-hmm. And it was like a really close knit like community that would all go out after work and like do karaoke or whatever and all that.
Right.
And so, so he would bring Josh in because he's just like, Josh is awesome. He's got to be in the band. He's like, great. What is he going to do? He's like, I don't know. And I was like, at the beginning, I was like, because I was very like, this is how you do things or whatever. And I didn't understand like what is, I don't get why Josh is here. What is he doing? And I don't think he got why he was there either. And the way he tells the story is he would see like we have equipment and stuff. Be like, oh, you're actually doing like band?
This isn't karaoke anymore.
Yeah. And Nate's whole thing was just like, what more, whatever, let's just do everything. Like, he got like, he's like, Josh, here, play the vibraphone. We would like literally carry a vibraphone around. Not a vibraphone, a marimba.
Right.
And
he must have already been playing horn, right?
Josh, yeah. So Josh actually went to music conservatory in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
For trombone and voice, and so he's got a good music training.
Okay.
He had never done any kind of like organized band other than like a school thing or whatever. And so he was just kind of like, whatever, okay, I'll show up and hang out. And then we recruited a drummer and eventually went through a couple of guitar players, and it was just sort of and then booked ourselves, local shows in San Francisco and Oakland and stuff. And we just try to go crazy with it, make it crazy artwork and make it this big theatrical thing, and not making any money on it or any plan or business plan or anything like that.
And it was a much bigger band in the beginning. You had live drums and dancers and
yeah. And there's Diesel. He just woke up. Hey, buddy.
Puppy.
And so and over time, what happened, we just kept doing that. It was fun. And then it was sort of like, well, let's try to tour a little bit. Let's book those I-5 tours, or let's try and go to Reno or maybe Denver or something like that. And then over time, as the further we went, it became more apparent that people were in it for different reasons. And,
you mean
some people
within the band?
Within the band, yeah.
Right.
As far as like when it's like, all right, taking time off of the day job or from the family or whatever. And meanwhile, Nate is, Nate's wife is giving birth to 3 boys of their own. So his plate's getting full.
Right.
We used to get done with gigs in San Francisco, and you're loading the stuff up. It's like 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
It's just like, oh man, I got to get up kind of early tomorrow. It's like Nate's like, oh really? How early do you have to get up? You have to get up at 6:30 to go to soccer practice? I didn't think so. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Wow.
So he was burning that candle at both ends. And then I think to him it was always sort of like Planet Booty was just sort of like a concept.
Right.
But to Dylan, it was like, this is the band. At first it was sort of Gurmark presents Planet Booty.
Right.
And then
one arm of a larger.
Yeah, but then when we would book things, they were like, so Planet Booty, and they would just put Planet Booty on the thing because they're like, I don't get what Gurmark is. And so eventually, like the name of the band just sort of by default became Planet Booty. And it was a sort of like many years of like, are we really calling the band Planet Booty? I don't know.
And were you getting enough like reception and love and feedback at that time to keep you? Because it sounds to me like at first you were just like pulled in and doing it, not really sure what it was all in all, or maybe it was still embryonic at that point. But as people started having to make decisions about work and time and can I really get in a van?
Yeah, well, by the time that happened, I was fully hooked into it. We had been getting good reception. We had definitely started having the experiences of, we just booked some local bar and it could totally go either way. We don't know if, 10 people or 100 people are going to show up, and 100 people would show up.
Right.
And Dylan would sweat his ass off entertaining them.
Right.
It was a whole new thing to me. The Mayfire was the first band I've been in with at least a front person with some sort of charisma.
Right.
But still, and she was a girl and she had her little attitude, which was very cool, but she was more cool than than outgoing.
Yeah, he really puts himself into the audience.
Yeah. And so it did have a really good reception. We would play shows and people would be blown away and like get, really good gushing feedback. So, that's addictive and that's a trip.
And was there a philosophy at the time? I guess something I'm curious about is it seems like from the early days till now, both the style of the show, the makeup of the band, like all of these things have evolved. Early Planet Booty sounds like what you described, like a just a party, not just, but a party booty, like a fun, good time band. But over time, it seems to have like taken on like layers that I would not have expected. I think it means a lot to people now. I think you guys sort of have found yourselves in a position to like be the voice of something that seems.
Well, yeah. So there's actually a specific turning point on that.
Okay.
Which is, I wonder if there was a little bit of an earlier. Well, I mean, I just said it was specific, and now I'm not so sure about this. The actual chain of events. I mean, one of the main things that happened was we met this other band called TWRP.
Okay, right.
Who we just sort of, on our self-book tour, we intersected with them on their self-book tour and ended up opening for them. It was a really good match. Right. They had a crowd that actually comes out in a town they had not been to before because they were connected to another band called Ninja Sex Party. Mm-hmm. And that was part of this whole, like, they had a huge fan base, or have a huge fan base, in like a gamer community, and like a younger crowd that's super into like anime and gaming, and sort of the indoor crowd I've heard them referred to sometimes, like not your typical like go out and see a concert and get wasted kind of crowd.
Right.
They sort of come to this show like it's a special event, and for some reason, I don't know if I should say for some reason, and there's also a strong element of the LGBTQ community and all that. Now, when I got confused, I feel like we were sort of taking a turn in that direction a little bit, even before we met, where Dylan would start to give sort of little inspirational speeches.
Right.
We did a couple of like pride festivals here and there. We would just sort of, those kind of, actually, yeah, that's totally true. Just like in San Francisco, we would get, we caught the attention of like, there's a group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. It's a bunch of awesome drag queens that dress up as nuns and like do all kinds of theatrical events. Or they did a thing called Project Nunway that they did annually for a while, and we were like the band for them sometimes. It was just sort of a natural fit, like Planet Booty, and we would do their like, they have a big like Easter party in Dolores Park with a Hunky Jesus contest, and we would perform a little bit at that. And so we got a pretty good following among that crowd, if you can call it a crowd. And there was sort of a turning point where Dylan would start to give like these sort of inspirational speeches that you could sort of feel the energy in the room like going up a notch in terms of just like, you know, loving each other and being 110% yourself and not letting them get you down, to sort of, you know, not necessarily even having to say, you know, we're here, we're queer, get used to it, or whatever, or, you know, gay slogans, just saying inspirational things, and everybody can sort of read between the lines and you know what we're talking about.
Around this world, and what we do here in Planet Booty is we try to make a space for everybody to feel like it's safe to be your sexual self, to be your sensual self, because honestly, we are all here, we are all sensual beings. This is, whether or not, however we fall on the spectrum, it's what we're programmed to do. So we are here to help celebrate that fact. We're here to tell you that you should celebrate that fact, and I'm here to tell you are sexy, made exactly like you needed to be fucking made. So don't be afraid to be yourself.
I guess that kind of leads me to a couple of questions I had about, like, so as you're starting to figure out that that's what you guys are doing, you're like creating this space for people to get over themselves. How did you stylize the aesthetic of like the albums once? So now you're like a 3-piece, right? You've been writing for as a 3-piece for a couple albums at least, right?
Yeah. So there was the Guilty Pleasure EP, and then before that there was Naked. So Naked was really the first one that was like written as a 3-piece.
And where were you? How did you put it? Like, I guess I'm wondering how you put it together, and if you modeled it after anything, or what were you the inspiration for how that album ended up sounding?
Yeah, this is another. I mean, I feel like Dylan's a lot better at talking about music than I am. But because I just get involved in the I sort of getting into the technicals of it and the production and just sort of actually physically making it happen. Yeah. When I produce music myself, I tend, like, creatively, just for whatever reason, I tend to gravitate more towards the like funky disco kind of smooth soul kind of thing. That's sometimes a little too smooth, but like on the like some of the recent songs on the Guilty Pleasure album are a little more, like, some of them are more inspired by my tastes, of course, getting the funk bass in there and stuff. Right. But mostly, I would say, I mean, Dylan's been a driving force in this thing and trying to keep that original
concept,
booty concept. And it's interesting, just the like the age gap. He's like, I don't know, like 10 years younger than me or whatever. And he's at that age where he's like, the 90s to him are like a sweet, nostalgic period. Whereas to me, the 90s are when everything started to get kind of shitty, you know? It's like crappy drum machines. I'm just like, what do they have to do that for? And he's like, that's that classic sound. And I'd be like, what? But then, like, after a while, you realize, well, that is that classic sound. You know, it means totally different things in totally different contexts or whatever. Right. And so a big part of our production process that's interesting is Dylan will come up with a beat, and he will work very meticulously and carefully on just these little distinct pieces of the beat and how he wants this exact little part to sound. And that's sort of his specialty. And my specialty is more of the overall production. And so I'll take that beat and I'll start polishing it up. Sometimes I'll polish it up a little too much. It's not unlike the story I just told about the Mayfire about putting too many notes in the bass line, you know, just like, so I've had to learn to be like, no, take this thing. There's a reason it's sort of just like raw like that, like raw, like trying to keep the rawness is a big thing. And rawness is especially, and simplicity was especially a big turning point in going for the 3-piece. Because just being a large band, and Nate is the synth master. He just loves having stacks and stacks of synths, and so we tended to gravitate towards this really big sound, which is ironic because we're playing really tiny clubs, and it would just be this huge wall of sound, just like, And then when we went to the 3-piece, and it was a lot, and there was no live drummer, and we just did that out of necessity. The first time we did that was South by Southwest, because we were like, we got into South by Southwest, we have to go do it, but only 3 of us can go do it. So let's do it this way, and I hope it works. Wow. And it came off really well. And it was a sort of moment of like, part of it is everybody's doing that now, so there's a context for it. But part of it also, there was parts of it that worked better, because first it's tighter by definition. Right. And it's just cleaner because there's just not so many layers and things. And it's just so much more of an impact. Yeah. That, like, and a big part of it is the difference between a recording and a live show. Like in a recording, we still like to put lots of little layers in and sprinkle it and make it this like rich tapestry. But then when you go live, take that stuff out and just like, you just want a raw beat and a raw bass line with a punch that sounds good through a PA and feels like physical in that space. It's a whole different animal. Right. And yeah, I mean, we've still sort of, ever since we went to 3-piece, we've still sort of been finding our way of what we want to produce. A lot of it, I mean, I think it's like a lot of bands, a lot of it's just by accident.
Tonight I've got myself, and that's enough. In my PJs, I'm that DJ, and I'm gonna play that song for me one more time, just one more time, just one more time. And I'm gonna dance.
guys discuss lyrics, or does that come from Josh and Dylan independently, or how does that process work?
So we don't discuss. So the whole process is very non-collaborative, so to speak. I mean, it's collaborative in a larger sense, but not in a sense that we get together in a room and try to hash it out together.
Right.
That was kind of a definition of the early Planet Booty days, and every band except the Mayfire before then, which is like, how do you do a band? You set, 1 or 2 nights a week for practice, and you get in a room and you go, maybe like this, and you jam. And you just like hope that something comes out of it. And you go until it's a song.
Right.
And after a while, we realized we hate doing that. And we're not getting anywhere. We're not producing anything. We just feel awkward and embarrassed. And so more and more, we've sort of gone off to our own corners, and we sort of think it's more, pop music production kind of, I guess.
So you're like a production band first. You you start building demos, and you're trading them back and forth.
We throw little ideas and we upload it to a drive. Check this out. I don't know. And you don't hear from anybody, and you're like, oh, I guess it sucks. But then like 2 weeks later, like, I really like that part you put on there, but I was thinking this and that. And so I try to stay out of the lyrics, because they're going to be singing them. They got to own them. They got to feel them. Every now and then I'll get, a spark will come into my head and I'll be like, what about this? And, maybe, and I'll write it down, and maybe I'll record a little thing. I was thinking something like this, and toss that over, and, maybe 30% of the time it's something good and they actually use it.
Right.
But it's a big process. It's, kill your babies is a big mantra.
Kill your babies?
Yeah, just like have a great idea, spend hours like dialing it in and thinking it's the greatest thing ever. And then the next day listen to it and be like, this is going in the trash. Right. Or like somebody else hears it and they're like, nah, I'm not feeling it. It's not the right vibe. Just like being able to like
move on,
let that go.
Yeah.
Is a big part of it. And I think,
Is it pretty democratic as far as it goes? Like, or is it just that each of your roles in the band make it easy so that you're not all fighting over lyrics because that's not your part, and the production part you handle, or the bass lines you handle? Is it or is it just a good fit, or do you guys have a process for like sorting out what gets to become something?
It's a little from all the columns. When things are going well, it doesn't have to be democratic because we're just vibing, and it's sort of it's a duocracy. If you do it, then that's probably going to be put it down, and until somebody else cancels it,
right?
That's the thing now.
Right.
After you've heard that thing in the demo so many times, all of a sudden, I guess that's part of the song, and that's what we're doing. Kind of, there's that. It is ultimately a democracy because sometimes we just don't agree. And one of the nice things about having a 3-piece is there's always a majority.
Right.
Happens to me a lot when I'm just like, I was thinking this idea. And Josh is like, that's great. And Dylan's like, no, or the other way around.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to go with what I want to do.
Right.
It's 2 against 1, or one way or the other,
Right.
So that the democracy definitely helps with the tiebreakers.
Right. You just reminded me. The videos. So, how did you become? You're sort of like the director, right? Do you direct the videos?
I haven't directed all of them, but I've directed most of them.
Okay.
I had sort of a joke that I would tell is I became the producer and director of the videos because I was the accountant. Because I just sort of naturally, and because it's just my personality of just like managing the books of the band and just keeping track of the finances. and I find it satisfying to make numbers add up. That's just one of the dorky little facts about me. But so when it came time to, we should make a video, we should do a big thing, and like, how much is it going to cost, and how much can we afford? Like, it sort of fell on me of like, well, how much money can we afford to spend? What makes sense, over X amount of time or whatever. And then that would sort of fall to me to sort of draw up a budget, and then I would just that would start the snowball running and be like, oh, let's try and maybe we'll get this guy to do, camera or whatever. At the beginning it was just, we would just do it ourselves. But then it's like, oh, we want to make it, it's sort of the quest for the professional looking video. We would keep trying to up the ante. Let's get a professional DP. Let's get like some professional lights, let's do this and that. And then you sort of enter this whole world of like, pseudo professional filmmaking where you're getting people that like really are professionals, but they're doing it for super cheap because it's like a cool independent band thing.
Right. Like this looks like you spent some money. Can you see?
Yeah.
Whose boat was that?
So this actually, in that shot where that guy was just standing up, that's Max, our old guitar player, and the guy lounging behind him was his dad, and that's his boat up in San Rafael. This interesting old crap, I can't remember. Is he Austrian, dude? I'm gonna get that wrong. Czech.
And you knew enough about, like from your theater days or from work about camera stuff? Or
so for this video, this was, I think maybe the first one where we hired a different DP.
DP, okay.
And it was someone that we did, it was actually Dylan's ex-girlfriend, Emily, who's dancing in this, not one of those girls, but she's in this video elsewhere. And she used to perform with us on stage just as sort of a personality. But she was involved in Bay Area sort of film stuff a little bit as an actress. And so she hooked us up with this guy, Tyler, that was a camera guy, and he had a red camera. So this is the first one we shot on a red. And, he had his focus puller, and he had, it was outdoors, so we didn't have to deal with a lot of lighting, which was nice. But, all this like steady cam and everything. And so he took care of all the camera and made it look all nice. But then, I did all the production of the planning of, when are we gonna get the boat, and you have to time it with the tide and all that stuff. And there's certain days.
Did you guys storyboard like every scene of this out and all that?
Yeah, well, a bunch of it. It's sort of a thing where you plan as much as you can, and then you try not to get too attached to your plan, because you can waste a lot of time trying to like get this very specific shot that you're just going to end up cutting in the end anyways.
Right.
Because it didn't work.
And did you edit that one?
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
Welcome everyone. So glad you're here this morning. And right now we're going to welcome to the stage Planet Booty.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, we are here today to celebrate life, love, funk, sweat. But most importantly, we're here to celebrate booty. Yes. Now, no matter your age, no matter your shape, no matter your color, your creed, your sexual orientation, your gender or lack thereof, we are here today to show you the sexy motherfuckers that you truly are. But in order to do what we do here today, I'm gonna need you to call out to the power of the booty. And it goes a little something like this. Booty. 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 Booty.
left cheek, right cheek. You just a hell of a team. I wanna put my junk in your trunk, and make a hell of a scene. I'm talking about wiggle, jiggle, wibble. Look at that big old booty, yeah, it's anything but little. Perfectly divided in the middle, but perfectly united. Booty civil, civil, civil.
They say that someone's junk is someone's treasure, and I don't disagree by any measure. I'm at your service, take me at your measure. When they give me pleasure, to give all that pleasure.
You got ass for days, you got swag for weeks, you got confidence in your speak. They overdose on your overload, so I'm singing bon appetit. Let's go. Give it a don't know. Drop your ass in the whole room glow. Now let that nonchalance hush the audience. Let the whole club that you know.
You got that junk.
Yeah, I'm liking all your junk. I like the way you move your junk, baby.
You got that junk.
You got me thinking about your junk.
Can I get in between your junk? Give me some junk.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk.
Oh yeah.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
Oh yeah.
Back it up. Show me the crack in the back again. Stack 'em up, rack 'em up. Baby, that fat ass is fabulous. Doing the shit that you do, it got me in a state of a dazed and confused individual. Nothing but praises I'm placing these this beautiful glory and all its deliciousness. The way I pop it off and call it Pringles. You got a lot of cake, now let me sprinkle. I wanna know all of your Vicky's secrets. Your booty's a book, and I'm on the dean's list. Now back it up. Come on, back it up. Just back it up. Let me see you back it up. I want your sexual healing, exceptional feeling. The way your booty move, the way your booty groove, it's so damn appealing.
You got that junk.
Yeah, I'm liking all your junk. I like the way you move your junk, baby.
You got that junk.
You got me thinking about your
junk. Can I get in between your junk? Give me some junk.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the
Oh
trunk.
yeah.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the
Oh
trunk.
yeah.
Your booty is evidence of a higher power. God created your booty in her divinest hour. Your booty favors the shape of the Himalayas. Your booty shape is in basic, there's many layers. Talking about left, right, up, down. Booty funky, uptown. Booty go, go. No Chuck Brown if your booty frozen, I shut down. You can get it, you can get it. And your mama too. Walk by, I'ma go ahead and enjoy this view. All this tail up in here, I'ma enjoy this zoo. I'll be up in the bay with something in the water for the California drought out. And these white girls bouncing their booty at the pants out the pants, call it white out. They got junk, I'm trash collecting. If they booty banking, I'm cash collecting. Check my pulse, cardiac arrest, and call a paramedic. I'm junk.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
Oh yeah.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
You got it.
You got junk in the trunk.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to know if Planet Booty sort of covers all of your creative needs at this juncture.
You know, it's a great question. Sometimes I think about it, I'm like, and I think, oh, there's no way it could possibly cover all the creative things I need to do. But then I don't know what those other creative things are that I want to do.
Right.
It's not like I have, a certain art inside me trying to get out. I don't feel the siren song or some kind of like music vibe or anything like that. Ultimately, I just like working on a project, being part of something that's creative and interesting and moving. I really used to like being involved in theater back in the day, just because it's like a group of creative people working on this sort of ultimately meaningless, silly like thing, but just like super invested in it. Whether as an actor or even just as a crew member,
Were you? Let's see. Were you trying to be? Are you guys on a label?
No.
You're all self-produced,
All self-produced. We were like almost on a label. Technically, our album Future Sweat, the last full band album, was released by a label called Aerobic International, which the main selling point of that label seems to be that they're a label called Aerobic International. Other than that, it wasn't clear what
they do. How they help.
We had there was some cool guys that we know, and they're involved with some other larger bands and stuff, and they kind of ended sort of their pet project away, and it was sort of, we had some discussion, but it was still, you know, we produced the whole thing and did all the work and did all the thing.
Before, you know, this whole pandemic situation, you guys were probably on a trajectory. In your mind, what was going to be next for Planet Booty before all of this happened, outside of tours? Like, do you guys think sort of big picture, long-term goals, or are there places you're trying to get to, or is a label something you're interested, or where were you guys?
Not so much the label. I mean, it was really about the touring, and well, it still is if it ever starts again, and trying to just take that as far as it can go. The next sort of big step with that would be to, hopeful step for that would be to try and be taken seriously by like festival crowds and stuff like that. We've played, as opposed to, you know, just doing sort of our own thing to our own crowds. You know, we've gotten to a point, which is great, where it's, you know, we can go in and play Bill's Saloon in whatever town, and there is enough of a cluster of people who will come to specifically see us because we're connected to this, you know,
network
world. And so that's good. That's a sustainable thing, but it is definitely a very distinct niche, like slice that doesn't really cross over into a much larger world of music. We've had, it's funny, there have been a number of times when like some like promoter would come up to us somewhere who'd like randomly seen us at some event or private party, we played or whatever. He's like, I manage the blah, blah, blah festival, and you guys are sick, and I just want to, one guy's like, I just want to drop you right in at like midnight on the main stage in between the sets, just like blow everyone's minds. And we're like, yeah, great. Just, you know, never heard from him again.
Right.
And I imagine him like trying to like the next day or week or whatever, trying to tell his like cool music festival promoter buddies, be like, no, I swear I saw this band Planet Booty and they were awesome. And they're like, maybe you should drink a little less or something. I don't know.
And is there a whole album on the way, or you're doing kind of one-off pieces as they come?
We sort of settled into the one-offs because even before lockdown, we were headed that way because the whole album concept, it makes less and less sense.
Right.
It's a lot of stress for this sort of arbitrary goal of must have X number of songs on a record. A very small percentage of the fan base wants to consume that many songs at a time anyways. And you end up, you know, since time immemorial, most of those times, you know, having this filler that you sort of phoned in and you're not that proud of. So we're sort of, we've been talking for a while about trying to go more towards quantity over quality. And also, no, quality over quantity.
Quantity, yeah.
Also, to fit it in between what was supposed to be a more aggressive touring schedule going on, to not have to be like, we need, you know, 6 months of not doing anything, because we work pretty slowly and meticulously when it comes to music production.
You guys have any aspirations to collaborate with people or do any kind of special projects with Planet Booty?
Yeah, I mean, we do a little bit of that. We've done a couple things with, we've got one, we haven't done a couple things. We've got a thing in the works with Turquoise Jeep right now. You know, we played with those guys a couple times. They're out of Atlanta. And with TWRP, we did a song before, and we're working on. They've got a new one. They're getting us on right now. I say us, but it's really just Dylan and Josh. Well, I help facilitate.
Right. You check the tides.
Yeah, exactly. There's the details that nobody thinks of.
Yeah. Important job.
So there's things like that. It's that's really, I sort of leave that up more to those guys because it's because our strong point. I mean, even though I think we have good production, that's not really our product. Our product is them, their personalities, the voice and the singing.
But yeah,
a little of everything. But that's like the core. If it was like something that we're going to collaborate with and something to offer, and that's the collaborations that we've done have been them singing on somebody's track,
right?
Or getting someone to come in and sing on our track. So I sort of leave that stuff up to them generally because it's what's exciting and interesting to them to do.
So I just have a few fan questions that people threw me. Someone was asking who makes your props? Like, where did the disco booty come from and all that stuff?
The disco booty, the prop. Who makes that's the number one prop. The disco. So we have Nathan to thank for the disco booty. That was his. We have Nathan to thank for a lot of this. Even as much as, that's the whole irony of the thing. Even as much as he was sort of the first one to be like, I don't know, this is ridiculous, guys. Are we really doing this? I don't know. And like, he sort of had to piece out eventually on it. And he really like fathered the entire thing. And he was the one that was like, we need a disco booty ball or a booty disco ball. And he like bought a mannequin butt. And like has a hilarious story about like his kids being like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Oh, give me that!" And like running into the back studio and like buying a whole bunch of mirror chips and getting a hot glue gun and just gluing that on there. And that was just like an inspiration. And he's like, "Hey guys, check it out! I made this thing." And like to him, it was just kind of like, "Ha, isn't that funny?" We'll get a kick out of it for a couple of weeks, and then he's over it. And we're like, "This is the icon of our new existence."
It really is something.
Yeah.
I have a poster of it. Do you have any best show, worst show memories?
Yes. Best show. Sometimes the worst shows are the best shows. I don't know. I get hung up. I'm like, which one is the actual best? Right. But just some great shows. Obviously, any of the shows we've done with NSP because they're just huge and people are super enthusiastic. The first show we played with TWRP, even in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, where it's just they had a crowd there. It's not that big a place, and they had 150 people, something like that, which was a full room, and we had been doing this tour where we played like 50 people at a time or whatever. So we were like, okay. And just the enthusiasm and the attention that everybody was up front. They were watching and they're like, what's happening? And Dylan said, put your hands in the air. And they all went, boom. He was like, holy shit. They all put their hands in the air.
That must be cool.
Yeah. So that was a great moment. I think, the classic best worst show that often comes back to me was in Chico, California.
I had one of those there.
Crusty little college town at probably the same bar, just that one. It's too big, like downtown on the strip there bar. And with all this, like you like peer off into the darkness, and there's all these like skanky corners everyone's hiding in. And so Dylan, he's got his, we invested in a wireless mic early for that guy. So he just gets up, prances around, and what's going on in here? And there was a guy, this got all the benches along the side walls, and there's a guy just passed out on the bench. And he wakes up to see Dylan's crutch just over him, just singing like this. And the guy's just like, oh, no, man. Of course, Dylan just gets like closer into him. And that was a big moment for me of, Dylan's going to pull us through a lot of sticky situations here. And I just have to chill here and do my part, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. The fan like art and interaction and all that stuff is really cool to see through social media. Just the people who are like drawing insanely detailed, beautiful pictures.
There's some amazing artists, and we've just inherited it. Because Ninja Sex Party is very cartoony, visual kind of band, and so they just have a huge fan base of artists. So I do this, and they ship the characters and in different, draw them as and furries and women and whatever, all these different things. And then they got TWRP as their band, and of course they already have like space age alien costumes and everything. So the artists went crazy on that. And then I'm sure that made it even wilder. And then we just got sort of dropped in there like the cherry on top or whatever, and just sort of became part of that like 3-act play. Right. And some of my favorite ones are when someone will draw like just the whole company. Again, it feels like being in like a big theatrical production or whatever sometimes. And then even just people drawing stuff of us it's a freaking trip.
You guys should do an animated thing sometime. That would be cool.
So there was a fan who made like 70% of a music video for one of the songs off of Naked, and it's awesome.
You've seen it?
I've seen it. And we tried to get him to finish it, but he was like, he's in school, and it was sort of like, I think it was like a class project, and then he moved on to the semester change or whatever. He's like, yeah, I want to finish it, whatever. And we even like offered to kick him some money to like finish it up, and it just sort of like, it never got finished.
Was it good?
But, yeah, it was amazing. I wish he would finish it and we could put it out.
Wow, awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to pass along to people generally?
Oh, geez. I don't know. just the usual platitudes.
Platitudes,
everybody. Platitudes. We're all in this together or something, some shit like these are unprecedented times.
They sure are. I know. Okay, well, thank you, Rob. I appreciate you taking the time. And
yeah, it's awesome.
I will.
I feel like I'm on. WTF.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hold up. We'll do one more, but you're gonna promise you're gonna go as hard as you fucking can. Two time. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, I want to reintroduce you to my booty. I like those ass cheeks. I like that booty clap. I like to see you walking both your hips back to back. I like the way you bounce. I like the way you sing. When you got them pumps and kind of bumps that I just wanna spank. If you want to, you really what I want to. Give it to me. It's on you, cause you know just what I can do. If you get the ass is strong in the zone, and you know you wanna get it on. See, why can't I be this freak that's booty? You gotta look like a freak that's booty. That's what? What? That's huh? Huh? Booty! Don't be afraid of the go. Come on. Or you put on the show. That's good. That's huh? That's what? What? Booty! Get your elbows down low. Work those shoulders. There you go. Ha! That's Yeah, come on. Yeah, but alright. We can do this every weekend. You wanna be friends? The way it's working, they got me tweaking. They got to know the way I'm saying. They got that booty.
When you're dancing next to me, you're beautiful.
Baby,
You're so damn
beautiful.
Like an ice. When you're dancing next to me, you're beautiful. You're so damn beautiful. Like an ice.
Time. Here we go. I wanna thank your mama. I bet you make her proud. We wear them family jeans. You really draw a crowd. I wanna get a sample. I wanna get a taste. Serve that shit on a platter and stick it in my face. Wait, look at me, that's booty. You got me looking like a freak, that's booty. That's what? That's huh? Don't be afraid to let go. Come on. I mean, put on a show. Let's go. That's what? That's huh?
When you're dancing next to me, you're beautiful.
Baby.
You're so damn beautiful. Like an ice. When you're dancing next to me,
You're beautiful.
you're so damn beautiful. Like an ice.
I got that dough bread. I got that dough bread. I got that dough bread. Who's got my fat meat? I got that dough bread. Spending my dough bread. I got that dough bread. Who's got my fat meat?